What's up and welcome back? It's BlackBerry time. I'm taking a second look at some of my favorite films of the year. Doesn't have to be nominated or not. It's an Oscar week, and leading up to the Oscars, I like to talk about some of the films that I had in my personal top 10. Some of the films that, or just some of the films that even came close. Films that I loved, films that I wanted to rewatch, films that I wanted to rediscover again. Been a while, been a minute, been a hot minute, uh, whatever. Um, and BlackBerry was one of those. I'll tell you a secret though. I'm actually not watching this the week before Oscars. I took it upon myself to watch this before doing my final Spirit Awards voting since BlackBerry was up for consideration. I watched it a second time because I wanted to make sure my selection was absolutely 100%. I was like, yep, feel good about it. I own this. I bought it the first time when it came out, so I own it digitally from the Apple Store where it has audio description. If you try to find it now, it's floating on AMC Plus where it doesn't have audio description, I don't believe, unless they magically added it since the last time I looked, but it didn't originally. They're not good about that. So, um, film stars Jay Baruchel, Glenn Howerton, Matt Johnson, Carrie Elways, and some other people. And it's still absolute fire. Just I still adore this film. I think it's a fantastic film from beginning to end. I did not think it's weird. I swear at the beginning of the year, I could take, if somebody could give me a master list of literally every film that's going to be released this year, I could probably try to tell you what I think my 10 are going to be. I might get one of them correct. You know? I would never have picked a film called BlackBerry from a director I was unfamiliar with, starring Jay Baruchel. Just would not have been on my radar at all. If I was trying to predict who I thought was going to be my best supporting actor of the year, never would have picked Glenn Howerton. Um, but that's what happens when you watch films and you allow yourself to be open to new experiences and films that you didn't think otherwise would cross your path. And BlackBerry is that film. It's the rise and fall of research in motion, and the people that worked there who had an idea to put a computer into a phone, even with a little keyboard. I had a BlackBerry one time, sort of transitionally coming out of, I guess if these are smartphones, I guess those are dumb phones, coming out of the dumb phone area. I mean, they kind of were when we look back on it. Like, what did we do on those phones? I kind of remember like the coolest game being Snake. Like, ooh, Snake is great. I mean, it's a great game. It's fun, but it's wow, simplistic. On my iPhone now, if I was excited, I could play Grand Theft Auto. I could play Call of Duty. It's just like we're on a completely different level nowadays. Um, so yeah, it's a very, very different set of technology that we're using. And in the middle was BlackBerry. And it's funny because there's a line in the film where he says, we're going to go from being the dominant force to being that thing people had before they had an iPhone. I think that's true for a lot of people. And it's a great line. Of course, they wrote after the fact, knowing exactly that is what happened. But at its highest point, BlackBerry controlled 45% of the cell phone market. So, and now they don't have any percentage of the cell phone market. Anyway, yeah, so I miss my BlackBerry. Was fun. Yes, it was fun to have the little keyboard. And yeah, there is something about that. Jay Baruchel says there's something about the clicks, and it's like there is something about the clicks. It's very weird. It's why iPhone has haptics now. So, I mean, they knew that at the end of the day that there was something that they had uh, envisioned there. So, uh, you know, Glenn Howerton comes into the film as Jim, who's going to shake things up, and shake things up he does in the best and biggest ways. And I love everything about his character in this film. I love when he just says he has. I don't think anybody in 2023 said fuck the way Glenn Howerton does in this film. It is just, I don't know, it's just such a great performance. I'm so sad that this was not nominated for an Oscar. I was really hoping that people would be passionate enough about it, but honestly, this one's on critics. He wasn't nominated enough. He should have been nominated at Critics' Choice. This is one of those performances that you can go throughout the whole year and look at all these critics being like, Glenn Howerton in BlackBerry is amazing. Glenn Howerton, Glenn Howerton, Glenn Howerton. When it came time to actually pick, Glenn Howerton was not picked for Critics' Choice, which is bizarre when you watch the trajectory of how people are like. It'd be like if they spent, it'd be like similarly spending the whole year moaning about how Past Lives is the best film of the year. And probably won't get recognized, and then they don't recognize Past Lives. You know, I mean, there were certain films that critics had sort of targeted early on, and performances that they had targeted early on, and for some reason they just ignored Glenn Howerton and Rachel McAdams, which were two people that they had championed really early. Um, but I think that's a mistake. I would have nominated BlackBerry. I think Jay Baruchel, this is a career best performance for him as well. He's never been this good before. I can't think of a single film that's come this close where he's had this much fire in his performance. It's a really great performance for him. It starts out very Jay Baruchel, like the guy feels like, oh yeah, this is perfect casting. And then as he evolves, as the film is written, we really get to see Jay pull out all the stops, and I think that's great. I love BlackBerry. Please watch it. It has a fantastic audio description that stands out from the film, lets you know what's going on. And it's, I believe, narrated by Nicole Cirilla, if I remember correctly. I think I can remember that. I probably put it in my original review when I talked about it. Interestingly, this time around, I watched it with a sighted person. I wanted to share this experience with somebody else. And there was one time where they felt like they wanted to share something with me. And it was a scene where Glenn Howerton is on the phone with the guy that's trying to do the corporate takeover of BlackBerry. And he wants to sound like he's not like the phone reception is bad. And for me, it just kind of sounded like he was standing somewhere where it was loud and noisy. Like, you know, how we kept watching, for some reason, Trump kept having press briefings in front of helicopters or jets with them running. I was always like, why are we here? Could you not find a quiet place to have to be heard? So like everybody has to shout over. Weird, but kind of felt like he was just doing that. And she mentioned that that he was holding the phone out away from his body, like holding out the phone to the side, which is actually something that the audio description doesn't mention. Fun fact. I don't think that it really mattered that much because the thing in my vision was like, thing was, I assumed he was just trying to stand next to something that was loud so that he could do the, I can't hear you, I can't hear you. You know what? We're breaking up. But no, he was also holding the phone out. So interesting little tidbit that I got from my second viewing of BlackBerry. But I will continue to watch BlackBerry. This is a film that I would say is probably close to moving into my all-time list. Probably getting, if I ever come back around to this film another time, well, it should be weird. I have no third reviews of anything on my channel right now. It would be probably an A+. I think this is going to be one of my favorite films of all time. I have to let it sit a little bit longer than this. Um, but I feel like this is going to be something I'm going to watch and watch and watch and want to watch again and really enjoy. So I hope you enjoy BlackBerry. Please watch it. It's in my top 10 of the year. And I'm giving BlackBerry an A. So there you go. That's it for me. Glad I shared this moment again with you. And we'll see who wins some Oscars. Or if my votes landed at the Spirit Awards. Did I vote for anything that wins at the Spirit Awards? I don't know. We'll find out. But maybe Glenn will finally win something. I'm not saying I voted for him. Not saying that. I'm not sharing my votes. I'm just saying, maybe he will. There were some great nominees in that category. Divine Joy Randolph. Loved her performance in The Holdovers. So, anyway, I have a website, MacMovieGuy.com. You can follow me on X, Twitter, Instagram at MacMovieGuy. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org. It lets you know what has audio description, where you can watch it. And you can go to the adna.org. That's the adna.org. It'll let you know who's narrating your favorite film and television series. That's it for me today. I will watch something else and see you guys on the other side.